very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheth. Thank you very much for logging in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking for you this evening. Well, first up, Uptrad has raised about $120 million from Singapore-based Temasek. Uptrad plans to use this fresh capital to further strengthen its team, scale its global market operations, and bolster its technology and product capabilities. Uptrad plans to scale up operations to achieve its $2 billion revenue goal by 2026. Well, moving on to the second headline of the day, Lead School, a major K-12 edtech player, has raised $30 million in a Series D funding round led by global VC fund GSV Ventures along with Westbridge. This latest funding round will be used by the company to accelerate growth by building a pan-India brand, rollout of new product offerings, strategic acquisitions, and hiring top talent across domains. Well, Hero MotoCorp, backed electric two-wheeler maker Ather Energy, is hoping to be profitable at the operating level by next year. It's also looking to raise capital to fund its future business expansion program. Now, last November, Ather Energy had raised about $35 million in a funding round led by Flipkart co-founder Sachin Bansal. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, automotive platform Car Dekho Group is planning to strengthen its international presence. It plans to expand across Southeast Asia in the next 2 years. Now, the company is currently in the process of deploying about $25 million for the expansion program, and in its international business, Car Dekho will now focus on new auto, media sales, solutions, used auto finance, auctions, as well as B2C retail.
Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who has been running a fleet of buses and have with me Kapil Raizada from Intercity. Thank you very much for joining us today. I want to talk to you about the last couple of months. We've been amidst a pandemic. Of course, there was a point in time when bus travel already, picked up in the month of November, December, and then again you are seeing a spate of lockdowns up here. So, how has this journey been? Because it seems to have been quite a rough journey for you out there.
Yes. So I'll give you a bit of a context background. So our journey really started in 2019, and it kind of scaled up all the way till March, and that was the first time when we witnessed the lockdowns, which lasted 3 months, almost 3-4 months last year. So a few things, I think, if we look at the broad trends, because I think there are some learnings that we can take out from the previous lockdowns and apply it in this second phase that we are kind of looking at, which has not been so severe yet in terms of restrictions, but has some parallels in some sense, right? So what we kind of observed last year was that we were operating at a certain scale, and then lockdown brought it down to practically zero. Right? After the lockdown, when business started in August, we saw a much stronger surge in demand, especially for the kind of service we were offering, where in the last 6 to 7 months, we reached almost X of where we were in March 2020. Right? So now we're kind of going through that unpredictability again. Travel is less, partly people are traveling less, and partly there are restrictions coming in place. And we expect these restrictions to actually continue or be slightly stronger for at least the next, I would say, 3 to 4, 5 weeks. This phase has been more severe than what we saw last time in terms of the impact it is having on the health of our people here. And but we've been talking to experts, medical experts, professionals out there, and the sense is, while yes, this is darker than what it was last year, it is expected to be relatively a shorter phase. And our sense is that practically, I think, most of April and the entire of May is likely to get affected. But that's on the short term, next 4 to 6 weeks of actual operating business. But fundamentally, what we feel is that if I were to take a longer term view, let's say a 12-month view, usually last year actually we've seen is that it actually has a few implications on the market. There is a preference towards established players. There is a preference toward trusted brand. So in some sense, we've seen a level of consolidation that happened last time, where the long tail of mobility players kind of shrunk and the market moved towards the more established and preferred brands. Second trend we noticed last year was there was a clear shift from offline to online. Uh, there was a huge increase in the total online adoption of consumption of services. We expect that to even further strengthen at this point in time. So yes, while there are immediate operational issues that we need to sort out in terms of taking care of the health of our travelers, taking care of the health of our employees, our frontline staff. But fundamentally, the way we see it is kind of in two stages. Next 6 to 8 weeks, take care of people's health, make sure people are stay safe, make sure our protocols and processes are being followed to the best possible extent. But we also see this as an opportunity, maybe from next 6 to 8 weeks, whenever this thing tapers down, for us to further consolidate and establish our leadership in the mobility space.
At this point in time, you have around 84, 85 smart buses?
We have almost 120, 130 buses out there. We are running, we have scaled down in certain places, considering the health of our own frontline staff. Also, there are restrictions that are coming up in terms of how much, who can operate what hours. Some of our services operate overnight, and there are nighttime restrictions in terms of where the people are allowed to go. I think after 8 p.m., 9 p.m. there are restrictions. And second thing also is some of these services can't start too early because they reach the other end like too early, otherwise 4 a.m., 3 a.m. And there's typically that place also has some restrictions in terms of late night or too early in the morning. So we have to look at both passenger convenience and our employee convenience also in terms of what's doable. And basically, we see ourselves as kind of an essential service provider, and mobility is an essential service. People need to go. There is the requirement for people to go to certain places. So we're just trying to strike a balance there in terms of what we need to do and what's really needed out there.
So in terms of expansion in the medium term, what is the kind of plan you're working with? Because, perhaps over the next 1 to 2 years, things may come back to what they were maybe a year ago.
Yeah. Actually, our 12-month projection is not changing. Our plan is to grow 5 times this year, 5x this year. And our sense is that it is too early for us to go back and review that plan as of today. We think that we are good to stick to the 5x growth plan this year. If you look at the size of the market that's out there, the travel need out there, we are still at a very early stage in the evolution, right? So basically from 100 odd to a 500 odd bus, we don't think, we are disturbing the overall dynamic in the system. It's a very small shift that way from a country level perspective, the kind of opportunity India has across its states and all over. So we don't see a need to do a replan today. Growth, we are still very bullish about it. So broadly, the way, as I said, is 2-phase. See this phase through and make sure people are healthy, people are able to just continuing what's required, basic required to see through this phase. And once this phase growth is over, we expect a fairly rapid recovery. And we think we should be able to recover the 2-month odd loss of growth that's happening there. We should be able to kind of recover that in a 3-month, 4-month period. And then we should be back to our year-end goals that we have set for ourselves in the first quarter of this year.
I believe in February last year, you all raised about 100 crore rupees. You all had prominent investors coming on board. What has been the utilization so far? And do you think that with this kind of aggressive expansion of 5x kind of growth, you would require more funds? Because this seems to be a very capital intensive business.
Okay. So firstly, our business is not capital intensive. Our business, the way we work is the vehicles are owned and operated by bus operators, right? So essentially, our investment comes largely in terms of providing the technology to manage large fleets, and also in terms of getting the demand, getting the bookings, getting the consumers, managing the consumer expectation and the experience. So our capex requirements are practically zero in terms of fleet expansion, right? So fundamentally, we do not see capital to be an immediate bottleneck for us in terms of scaling to a 5x. Most of the tech platform is already done and proven. We basically need to just build on top of what's already there. Essentially, what we are now looking for fundamentally is to be able to work with our operator partners to provide a very consistent and a standardized experience to our consumers. And we believe as long as we can do that, demand is not a problem. Okay? So it's more of working together with bus operators to ensure that the processes that we have agreed together, the compliances, the monitoring, the entire experience is at par every time. And that's fundamentally what the core of our platform is all about. And I think as long as we are able to execute very clearly on that, we don't see demand as a problem. 500 buses, I mean, think about it, like 30 passengers per bus is 15,000 people a day. That's not a huge number for India. Right? In fact, we should be gunning for a lot more is what we be looking at the volume of travelers that's out there.
I want to ask you one final question before I let you go. And we have a lot of startups who are watching this show. And I want to ask you, what do you attribute as the secret sauce of your success, or what does it take to build a successful business model?
So we have evolved. We have evolved and we've iterated over time. We started with Rail Yatri. We initially started with trying to solve the intercity travel problem, looking at the demand-supply mismatch in trains. That was our origin. We realized that people are struggling to find a seat on the train, and we said, let's make a system that helps them, get a seat on the train. As we went deeper, we realized that there aren't enough seats on the train, but hey, people are not trying buses because road network is increasing, right? So we expanded the problem statement and said, it's not enough for us to look only at trains. We also need to look at roads, because finally consumers want to reach home. They don't care about a train or a bus, right? So as we went deeper and we peeled the onion, we realized there's another bigger problem statement out there, and we had to adapt to a newer and a bigger problem statement. So basically, the way I see it, if you were to ask me, is one should be open to review the original hypothesis one started off with, and there's always an opportunity to improve upon the problem statement. And I think as long as we're open to reviewing our original assumptions and reworking, I think we are on the right track. All
right. On that note, many thanks for joining us today. And thank you so much for being a part of the Daily Dispatch. Thank you for your time.
Nice talking to you. Have a good day.
Well, time now to wrap up this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and stay safe.